purple and black, distinctly finger-shaped. It wasn't a dream. It wasn't my imagination. Something had reached out of the dream and touched me. The bed that dreamed back. A horror story told by the man who survived it. People think nightmares can't hurt you. They're wrong. I know because mine almost killed me. All because of a bed. One I bought to celebrate moving into my new apartment. Let me tell you everything. Exactly how it happened. I wouldn't believe it myself if I hadn't lived through it. 30 days before the nightmare began, I was on top of the world. I'd just moved into a quiet apartment building on the east end of the city. The place felt perfect. Clean halls, bright windows, neighbors who kept to themselves. I remember standing in the empty living room on that first day, hands on my hips like some proud homeowner, telling myself, this is it, my fresh start. For a month, nothing strange happened, nothing at all. I slept on an air mattress, which was uncomfortable, sure, but harmless. The nights were calm and blessedly dreamless. And then the universe decided I was too comfortable. I saw the ad online. It read, antique bed frame plus mattress. Cheap, must, pick up. The photos made it look grand, old-fashioned. The kind of heavy, dark wood furniture people passed down through generations. And the price? Suspiciously low. But what do you get when you mix stupidity with desperation? You get me, showing up at a stranger's house to buy it. The seller was a man in his late 40s, pale and twitchy. His eyes kept shifting, darting nervously like something behind me scared him more than I did. You're lucky, he muttered, not making eye contact. Most people wouldn't take something this old. It looks sturdy, I said, trying to be polite, trying to justify my poor decision. He didn't smile. He didn't help me carry it. He barely even looked at it again. We loaded it back to my place. I remember the moment we hauled the frame into my bedroom. A sudden, deep coldness filled the air. Real cold. Breath, fog, cold. It's probably the AC kicking on, I said out loud, attempting to rationalize it away. But the AC wasn't plugged in. I should have trusted the absolute dread running down my spine. That chilling premonition. But I didn't. I spent the evening putting it together, dusting off the dark, heavy wood. That night, I made the worst decision of my life. I slept on that bed. The moment my head hit the pillow, sleep took me like a drug, hard and fast. I found myself standing, but not in my room. I was in a long hallway, pitch black, silent, endless. A scraping sound came from behind me, like fingernails on stone. I wanted desperately to turn around, to run, but a pressure, a sheer invisible weight, held my head straight. I was paralyzed. Then a whisper crawled into my ear, dry and cold as dust. You're in my place now. I jolted awake, screaming, drenched in sweat. My heart was pounding so hard I thought it would break a rib. Just a dream, I pleaded with the empty room. But deep down, I knew it wasn't just anything. It was a lock turning. The dreams didn't stop. They were a continuous feed. The next night, it was the same suffocating hallway. But this time, a shadowy figure stood impossibly far away at the far end. Night 3, it moved closer. Night 4, I couldn't move at all. I was paralyzed in the dream, forced to watch it advance on me. And the bed itself was changing things in the physical world. On night 5, I woke up and noticed something disturbing. The massive, heavy bed had shifted a foot during the night, leaving drag marks scored deep into the wooden floor. That same morning, I found a blackened handprint, a smudge of charcoal and grime on my pristine white blanket. My breath caught in my throat. I backed away from the bed. "Someone was here," I whispered. But I knew it was nonsense. No one had broken in. The doors were locked. The windows were shut. Whatever was happening wasn't coming from outside. It was coming from within the bed. Then, on the seventh night, the dream changed. I wasn't in the hallway. I was lying on the bed, my bed. But the room looked rotten, decayed, like an abandoned house. Mold was dripping down the walls. The ceiling was peeling, and everything was sickeningly gray and dead. I couldn't move a muscle. A whisper, closer this time, rose from directly beneath me. "You shouldn't be here." Then something grabbed my ankle and yanked. I screamed and kicked wildly, flailing myself awake. I sat up, gasping, and my ankle throbbed with a very real, agonizing pain. Later, I discovered a forming bruise, purple and black, distinctly finger-shaped. It wasn't a dream. It wasn't my imagination. Something had reached out of the dream and touched me. Something real had attacked me. I had to find the cellar. I needed answers. I contacted the man immediately. He didn't reply. Didn't even read the messages. I called. He ignored me. On the fourth try, he actually picked up. "What do you want?" he whispered, his voice trembling so badly it was barely audible. "What is wrong with the bed?" I demanded, trying to keep my own voice steady. A long, terrible pause hung between us. Then he sighed, utterly exhausted and utterly afraid. "It belonged to a woman," he finally said. "She died in her sleep last year." "How?" "I don't know. Doctors said natural causes. But before she died, she complained about the nightmares. She said something lived under the bed, said it wanted her soul." He took a shaky, miserable breath. "She started clawing the wood at night, screaming. I heard it through the walls. When she died, I inherited the furniture, and I've been trying to get rid of that bed ever since." He whispered one last thing before hanging up, ending the conversation, ending his confession. "I'm sorry, I just needed it gone." My stomach twisted into knots. He didn't just sell me an antique. He sold me a coffin. He sold me a problem. That night, my hands shaking, I flipped the mattress and checked the frame with a flashlight. I found scratches, deep, savage scratches. Like fingernails had raked the heavy wood over and over in a frenzy. Some broken old nails were still stuck in the grooves. Then, under one of the planks, tucked away, I found a folded sheet of old, brittle paper. It was a diary page. The handwriting was frantic. "It dreams through me. It grows stronger every night. When I sleep, something else wakes." I dropped the page as if it had burned me. My hands shook uncontrollably. I was sleeping in a cage. Panicked, I called my friend Lena. She studied folklore and weird history, not quite a ghost hunter, but enough to take me seriously. When she walked into my bedroom, her face changed instantly. She didn't have to hear the story. The room told her everything. "This bed," she muttered, circling the frame warily. "This wood is old, like centuries old." She crouched down to look underneath the lower edge. A second later, she gasped, a sharp, sudden intake of breath, and scrambled backward away from the shadow under the bed. "What?" I shouted, rushing to her side. "There's a seal," she whispered, pointing a shaky finger. "A binding sigil. Someone trapped something in this frame. Something ancient." "Trapped?" I repeated, my voice cracking entirely. She nodded slowly, fear darkening her eyes. "And sleeping on it woke it up. It found a new host." We planned to take the bed outside the very next morning, but the bed had other plans. As soon as I sat down on the edge to tie my shoes and start our rescue mission, an overwhelming, dizzying sleepiness crashed over me like a breaking wave. I fought it. No, not now. Don't. It was too much. I collapsed sideways onto the mattress, and I fell into the deepest, blackest dream yet. I was instantly in the hallway. The shadowy figure stood inches away from me, impossibly close, filling my vision. It leaned close to my ear, and I could feel the coldness of its breath. You tried to leave me. Its voice was colder than death itself. I screamed the words, my throat raw. Let me go! It didn't. Sleep, it whispered, its presence suffocating. I live. It reached a skeletal blackened hand for my face, and I woke up back in my room. I was thrashing on the mattress, but everything looked wrong. The shadows crawled, moving like liquid along the ceiling. The walls seemed to breathe, inhaling and exhaling. And the bed groaned beneath me, like something alive, something hungry. I didn't stand. I fell to the floor and crawled backward to the door, sobbing, scrabbling away from the heavy wood frame. Behind me, a voice, a soft, possessive whisper from the place where the shadow had stood, said, "Come back." I didn't. I scrambled out, slammed the door shut, and ran outside. I walked the city streets, shivering, not daring to return until sunrise. At dawn, Lena met me, her car loaded with gasoline and accelerants. We dragged the bed outside immediately. The whole time, the dark wood creaked and popped like bones twisting in protest. It didn't want to go. It fought us with its sheer weight and resistance. When we reached the empty lot behind the building, Lena poured lighter fluid over the frame and handed me the lighter. "You have to do it," she said, her expression grim. "It chose you. You have to be the one to end it." My hands trembled so hard the flame danced as I lit the match. I looked at the old, cursed thing. "I'm done," I whispered. The tiny human flame touched the dark wood. A shriek, a pure agonizing sound, tore through the air. Not human, not earthly. It sounded like a million forgotten souls crying out at once. Black smoke twisted violently upward, writhing like a living thing trying desperately to escape the fire's grasp. Then, silence. The fire died down to embers. The bed reduced quickly to ash, and a few smoking metal springs. Whatever lived inside, it was gone. That night, I slept on my floor, just the carpet and a single thin blanket. No nightmares, no whispers, no phantom bruises, just blessed, peaceful silence. A week later, I bought a brand new bed from a real store with a receipt, fresh materials, and zero history. The first night I slept in it, nestled under the clean sheets, I whispered into the quiet dark, "My dreams are mine again." And they were. I never saw the hallway again. The faceless figure never returned. But sometimes, when the night is too quiet and the air in my room feels colder than it should, I swear I hear a faint, distant crackling, like something burning all over again. And I pray that the ashes hold.
Thanks for watching. If that story gave you chills, help us reach our goal of 10,000 likes. What was the scariest part? Let me know in the comments. If you know someone else who loves good horror content, please share this video with them. And finally, if you haven't already, subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next nightmare.